for the German army, producing the notorious Zyklon B gas. Later, his own gas was used to kill many members of his family at the Auschwitz concentration camp. So, very dark stuff indeed. Erwin Schrodinger, who was not Jewish, was also swept up by the hysteria. On March 31, 1933, when the Nazis declared a national boycott of all Jewish stores, he happened to be in front of Berlin's large Jewish department store, Wertheim's, when he suddenly witnessed gangs of stormtroopers with Nazi swastikas beating up Jewish shopkeepers as the police and the crowd stood by and laughed. Schrodinger was incensed and went up to one of the stormtroopers and berated him. Then the stormtroopers turned and began to beat him instead. So Schrodinger also got into trouble and ended up in England and Ireland. So all of these physicists that we met in the last chapter, who were part of the quantum revolution, who were big contributors to quantum mechanics, of course, many of them were displaced. And Schrodinger went to Ireland and England, and Einstein went to the US. Einstein, so he at first I believe he went to the UK. Later on, he ended up in the US. I held up my glass because Baji was running towards it. Oh my God. Einstein, although in exile, was besieged with job offers from around the world. So this is when he's still sort of in exile, still in Europe. Leading universities in England, Spain, and France wished to capture this world-famous figure. Previously, he had been a guest professor at Princeton University. He had spent his winters in Princeton and his summers in Berlin. So it helped that he had already kind of been to Princeton as a guest professor, as a, to give a talk, because he was a famous scientist giving awesome talks, which is highly recommended if you're doing great work. Give lots of talks about it because you might just need to get a job at that university. And he had spent his winters in Princeton and his summers in Berlin. Abraham Flexner, representing a new institute to be formed at Princeton, basically took this opportunity to kind of steal Einstein away from Europe, because you'll see which institute, but basically they were standing up a new sort of institute. This is very common in academia. Sometimes a university is sort of starting something up and it's not super established yet, but they hire very established, very famous people all across the world to come and contribute to this institute, and then it kind of takes off. So the faculty at a university is obviously very important, and the more sort of notorious, famous, amazing faculty that you can get, the better off that university or that institute will be. So sounds like one of the professors or one of the people at Princeton was forming a new institute, largely with a $5 million fund from the Bamberger fortune, had met several times with Einstein and approached him about the possibility of moving to the new institute. What appealed to Einstein... Hi, Reese, you're here! We're talking about Einstein, War and Peace. We're kind of recapping what we talked about yesterday. We kind of covered the depressing topic that is War and Peace and atomic bomb and E equals MC squared quite a bit yesterday, but we're kind of continuing, and I was recapping for the audience here. So if you're around, you didn't miss much. We will talk about it here tonight as well. So are you going to stick around, Reese? So $5 million fund from the Bamberger fortune had met several times with Einstein and approached him about the possibility of moving to the new institute. So this institute at Princeton. What appealed to Einstein was the fact, we'll try. Okay. What time is it? Yeah, it's late for you, isn't it? Maybe you can nod off with us here. So what appealed to Einstein was the fact that he would be free to travel and free of teaching duties. Although he was a popular lecturer, regularly breaking up audiences with his antics and enchanting royalty with amusing anecdotes, teaching and lecturing duties were